We are ready.
Hola a todos, estoy aquí para comunicaros que...
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Samas, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Hi, my name is Jaime Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one, well done.
Ready. Play.
Hola a todos. Hoy nosotros veremos el partido entre Hugo Humbert y Jérôme Kim. Now I will also switch to English because so we did in that beautiful intro. Exactly. And well, this is of course the tournament, the match that pretty much starts the event in terms of its main draw. Hugo Humbert is going to play Jérôme Kim. Kim didn't get a main draw wildcard, which I thought was a little surprising, but well, he managed to make the organizers sort of like see that he was supposed to, he should have, because he qualified in good style, defeating Rinderknecht and defeating Henri Bernet. Bernet is another fellow Swiss youngster talent who is from the same club as Roger Federer and also plays a one-hander. Kim is a little older, but he's not old at all. He's 21. And this season has been by far the best of his career, but this is not because he doesn't have the talent. This is because he was struggling with injuries the last 2 or 3 years. I think that next year he will very likely be trying to break the top 100 in the first half of the season. Obviously, he can also do it with a big run here. I'm just talking about like the more likely option. However, yeah, he's been fabulous ever since he basically became just a little more healthy. I think he even doesn't have his knee taped here, right? Yeah, that's very rare. I mean, basically, Kim plays like 90% of his matches with tape on his knee, so he must be feeling pretty well. Let's see how he's going to handle a guy like Humbert. As I said, I just don't think he has gotten many chances against players like this, but his quality, his weight of shot feels ATP Tour level. And, well, I have high expectations for this match to at least be competitive. I think that Hugo probably is the favorite. Last year in Basel, he was in the semifinals. Obviously, like slicker, pretty fast indoor hard courts. This is something he loves. He's already hitting great shots here. This is a fantastic return to go 30-all. Earlier, he also won the first point with this nice return 1-2 punch combination. So it's not like Hugo is not starting quickly here. But yeah, this match essentially starts the main draw in Basel. It kind of starts the ATP Tour week as well, because Vienna is lagging behind by just a tiny bit, but Koboli and Davidovich Fokina should be on there very shortly. We had a withdrawal today from Carballes Baena, so Arnaldi will face Goffin in the end. And it's a pretty fun lineup on both in both events, I think. As I already mentioned in the Tokyo Beijing week, I think these double ATP 500 sort of features are definitely very cool. And yeah, this should be another one of them. Actually, Basel and Vienna, I feel like this year they kind of got less of the usual like big names, right? Because usually you would have Alcaraz, Sinner playing these events too, Medvedev, always in Vienna. So you only really have Zverev out of the guys who are already qualified for the ATP finals. And then, well, you don't have Djokovic either, obviously. He used to play Vienna quite a lot too, Basel as well, early in his career. And then you kind of start the lists from 7 in the rankings and down, which is a little unusual for this week, I would say. That doesn't mean it won't be exciting, but certainly the storylines are a bit different. Of course, perhaps the biggest one actually is going to be just simply Dominic Thiem. Well, so far, it's Kim who claims the first game, despite these 2 nice winners from Hugo. Otherwise, the Frenchman was a little bit off with his baseline game so far, and that's it really. Kim able to maintain that consistent, solid shot off the ground and able to draw some errors. draw some errors. Also, we had an interview, right, with Ugo Humbert on the channel last week from the UTS in Frankfurt. So if you want to check that out, I wanted to say I recommend it. I haven't seen it, but I think I can recommend it. Why not? And yeah, Kowoli, Dawidowicz, Fokina, they started as well. Actually, maybe they were even quicker than Basel. Maybe I just lied to you. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, it's the same time, 2 p.m. And yeah, you can see that interview now on the screen. 10 minutes with Ugo Humbert from Frankfurt. Frankfurt famous for the airport, for the banks, but also now for the Ultimate Tennis Showdown. I know this will definitely be put into a headline on like Wikipedia of the city of Frankfurt, unless it was the other Frankfurt, but I'm pretty sure it must have been the bigger one, the more famous one. I don't know how it is in German, to be honest, but in Poland we say, like, in order to discern between these two Frankfurts that they have in Germany, we basically say on which river. So that Frankfurt is called Frankfurt nad Menem. And the one that is on the Polish border essentially is called Frankfurt nad Odrą. I think that exists also in German. Anyway, let's see how Kim is doing on the return of serve. Not maybe like one of his prime strengths. Oh, actually, he has tape on his knee. Okay, yeah, I just didn't see it earlier. That's good, because I was really shocked. I was like, what? Kim is playing without the tape, but he does have it. So that was fake news. But anyway, yeah, we'll see how he does on return here. Probably not his like main strength, but especially yesterday, I thought in the qualifying he was really unloading the serve of Burnett. And I know Henry is 17, but yeah, he's already an absolutely massive server. So that was still impressive what Jérôme did there. This year, I feel like even this year, he would have really been mounting up a top 100 campaign if not for a few chokes here or there. 5-2 against Gigante in the semifinals in Alicante was it? No, Mallorca. Sorry, when Ajdukovic won the title. Jérôme probably takes this one. There was also that US Open qualifying choke against Quentin Wallis when he was up a break like 3 times in the third or something like that. So, a few performances like this here or there, and perhaps he actually can break the top 100 this year. As I said, he can still do it, but it's just pretty unlikely at the moment. Also, Jérôme, last year he was injured when Basel was around, so basically he played only from like end of March to beginning of July. That was his entire season last year. But in 2022, he played Basel qualifying. That was his last match of the season then, and he lost to Laszlo Djere, which was a very entertaining match. It was like 5-2 and 2 match points for Kim at some point, I think. But he ended up losing it in the end. So another tight loss. You can kind of see a pattern there, which I think there is a pattern so far, at least with him, in terms of these tight matches that he's not really taking advantage of, and sometimes just falling apart for seemingly no reason. But, well, at the same time, he still has so much potential that he just makes up for all of these results. Ooh, that's another insane return from Humbert. And this is a first serve, Kim is expecting to be on the front foot here. But instead, he just watches a ball fly past him, really. That's a truly stunning one. I think he doesn't make the next one, though, just by a tiny bit, yeah. But the hands of Humbert on the return, if he can keep firing like this, that will be a factor in this match for sure. Humbert, of course, a very good indoor player. Even this year, he's picked up the title in Marseille. Last year, as I said, he was the semi-finalist at this very event in Basel. So clearly the favorite of this match, but it's just exciting to see what Kim can do here and if he can actually make this one as much of a battle as potentially he probably should be. This is definitely an ace from the young Swiss, 40-15. And by the way, I was just thinking about this the other day, but I think like 2 or 3 years ago, I made a prediction that this year, 2024, Kim would make it into the next gen finals. And while he won't, that's only because they changed the rules, right? Like, he actually would have had a really good shot if they didn't change the rules, because he's not eligible anymore. They basically killed one more year of his eligibility. So they did for like Medjedovic, for example. So the 2003 boys would usually be still available, still eligible. So would Rune or Alcaraz, but obviously they wouldn't play. But yeah, that prediction of mine is not really coming along because, well, they just decided to move the goalposts. But it possibly could have happened, you know. I also think I said at the same time, I think I predicted Marco Topo to make there, and like that, he didn't. But they actually were involved in a very interesting match this year in Zug in the quarterfinals, and that was kind of another glimpse of what Topo can be as well. So maybe it wasn't that horrible. But yeah, Jérôme saved like 5 match points there or something like that, maybe even more. And ended up winning the title. I think 2 titles this year so far, Prosteov and Zug, both on fast clay courts, which kind of tells you what he likes. I mean, you know, even on clay, he prefers the faster conditions. But he's good pretty much anywhere, I think. Have watched him live a few times as well. In Poznan, definitely 2 years ago, or no, last year actually, and this year in Mauthausen. Wasn't maybe like an amazing event for him there, but he defeated Dodig and he lost to Gerald Melzer in the opening round. Poznan, I think he had a good win over somebody, but that was also one of these events where you could already see that his knee is just done in 2023. And then, yeah, soon enough, at the beginning of July, he decided to cut his season short and return in 2024, clearly return very strong. And I think, yeah, in the first few months of 2025, he still won't have all that much to defend. So the chances for that top 100 breakthrough are there for sure. Well, in the first game, we had an insane return 1-2 punch from Humbert. Now we've got Kim doing pretty much the same thing. Very deep with this return, and then the backhand cross is just... feels like Humbert is even pretty close to the ball, but there's absolutely no way he can react to this in time. And that's a sloppy backhand as well. He just didn't really position himself well. And, well, low 30 here. Kim looking at some chances. I don't think I finished, by the way, earlier when I wanted to say that the biggest story this week probably is the team retirement, rather than, you know, the usual Basel Vienna stuff. But that's, of course, the other event in Austria. Can Kim set up 3 breakpoints here? He's in the rally, at least. Humbert pushing him around the court, though, steps in to take the backhand cross, and I think he's just found the line, but this is just on the line. Well, I can't really call it lucky. He still executed this extremely well. That was a nice, like a free shot combination of the backhand. First cross, it was already pretty low, so Kim had to leave the ball a bit. Then Humbert goes line, and then once again cross, but yeah, he probably didn't need to be that close to the line. Let's just say that. Anyway, 15-30. Still a very impressive point from him under pressure. And we have the electronic line calling in Basel, of course. So we saw it, but on the close call rather than an actual challenge. Well, this is just a bread and butter point of a left-handed player. Left-handed serve, of course, out wide on the outside, and then backhand cross-court into the other direction. For someone like Humbert, that really is the money maker a lot of the time. I know he... I don't want to bring up that much again, but, well, he has that really good matchup with Fields that, well, he recently lost to, but still, it's one of the main reasons why he was beating up Arthur like this, even in that match. Against Kim, it's also a factor, I guess, but he probably has a slightly more dangerous, potent backhand than Fields, at least, or maybe consistent. Maybe is the better avenue to go for here. It's just a little bit stronger, I would say, a little bit less breakable. Or that's nice. There's definitely a bit of luck here with the way that that Kim invited Humbert to the net here, but good on him in like, not losing his cool. There was a lot of time for him to kind of overthink and just allow Humbert to potentially still win the point, but he puts that really nice, like very wrist heavy short forehand past him, and for that he definitely deserves the credit here. That's a short ball to attack for Humbert, though. Will he have to smash it? No, he won't. That lob from Jérôme is just a tiny bit long. I don't know if we're going to see the close call here as well. He seems like he was thinking it might go in. But no, they're not going to give it to us this time. Random thought from this morning. I don't know why I'm gonna say that, but I was just thinking Khachanov should switch to Armenia and play the United Cup with Avanesian. That would be a fun duo. But well, I don't know if it's gonna happen. Probably not. Sarkis Sargsyan would be their captain. Already, certain that he would do it, because it's literally the only Armenian player I know other than Khachanov ethnically. I don't know if Ghosty is going to be here today, but what was it? Ethnic Mongolian that he had issues with Buyun Chalkete. I'm going to start calling Karen Khachanov ethnic Armenian. Also, kind of like little known fact, Karen is more like a girl's name, right? Yeah, that's obviously I'm joking. That's a reference to a pretty horrible press conference question from a pretty horrible journalist. Ooh, now it's again like Kim thinking with that very strong deep backhand into the corner. He's going to be pushing Humbert out of the court. But no, it's the Frenchman just right on cue there with the forehand line redirection. Beautifully done. And he gets the first point at 2-games-all. Is this the game where we see some cracks from Kim? This forehand here, middle of the court. Well, wasn't easy. Wasn't anything that he had to like wrap up, but certainly just an unforced error that at love 15 is putting him, now at love 30 obviously, is now putting him in a pretty difficult spot. And has Humbert made this return? No, he hasn't, but this was really close. He makes that and he has 3 breakpoints. So definitely will feel quite fortunate there, Jérôme. Nothing fortunate about this massive serve, but he still has to play the point. And what a shot from Humbert. Wow, I hope you're going to see it on your timeline or something. I mean, the return was just like, barely got it in play. Kim doesn't really have a smash option there. He has to go for a bit of a ground stroke. Well, it's not technically... Well, I guess it's technically a ground stroke, even though he's like very deep inside the court. But yeah, he goes really deep at the Humbert forehand and gets burned by this forehand counter. Beautiful stuff. This kind of reminds me of like the shot that you play when you forget that your opponent is left-handed, And to an extent, I think that's something that happened to Jérôme here. I'm going to talk about it in a second, maybe. Wow, now Kim fires back. I mean, this was the break. Like, Humbert just had this point won about 3 times. But Kim first scrambles really well to that forehand corner. And then at that slice approach from Humbert, he just responds with a full on-the-run backhand pass down the line. Humbert is clapping his hand against the racket. He still has one more breakpoint though. I was just gonna say later though that when you play that shot what Kim had at 15-30 at a right-hander, he's not gonna burn you like this. But a lefty can. They just have better reach on that side. It can be tough to get out of these patterns sometimes when you play righties, of course, 90% of the time on the tour. But well, Kim will save the second breakpoint as well. Sensational shot there with that backhand line, and it eventually gets him back to deuce. About 3 times in that point I thought he's done, but no. Some good depth here as well in that previous point to save the second breakpoint. Humbert trying to slam his forehand line, but he just didn't have enough space, time, because of where Jérôme put it. Probably out on that first serve, I would say. Yep. And that's also out, so that's a double fault to go down the third, to give Humbert the third breakpoint. We know that Humbert probably will be trying to be pretty close, I guess, and just I don't know, win with some good reaction on that return. And that's what he's doing indeed. Swooping in, it's a really good return to be honest, and he has the little timing advantage, not anymore though. Jérôme rushing the net, it's a very good volley, and I think it will be enough. Got lots of depth on it. Kind of had to carry the ball. He couldn't really stop volley. He couldn't just swat it away. Had to carry it a bit deeper, and he succeeded at that. Good instincts as well, because after that backhand line, I think that Humbert probably would not. Well, most players probably wouldn't follow that up to the net, so that was good. Didn't really give Humbert any time to think. So 3 breakpoints now. Saved. Once again, he's at the net, and beautiful stuff. Wow. I mean, well, Kim is fine at the net, but I don't know if he's known for it or something like that. But this is awesome. Just wrong footing will go completely with that volley. It didn't need to be precise. It just literally was all about the right choice of basically the right shot selection. So yeah, saved 3 breakpoints and now has a game point of his own to keep going here to get us to 3-2 in what's been a very high quality match so far. And Humbert will not be able to break this game, so not yet, says Jérôme Kim. Koborli and Dawidowicz Fokina playing in Vienna, as I said, 3-2 for Dawidowicz Fokina and a breakpoint actually. Will Topo ever win more than 2 matches in a row? He did in he did in Zug, right? In July. I don't know if that's I know that's not it's not a recent experience for him, but he did win there. But you can also see how he's playing still to this day, and that it's going to be pretty tough for him to be winning matches in a row. Well, actually, he also won 2 matches in a row in his most recent ITF appearance, then lost to Policzak, which is not a bad loss right now. Tulln, he won 3 matches in a row. Ludenscheid, he won 3 matches in a row. Zug even 4, yes, because I forgot that it was also coming from qualifying. So, he's doing that somewhat often recently. But yeah, that Zug chance, that was something that really hurts Topo, I think. That was, a huge challenger event. Really could have progressed his career so much. Katie Volinet's season is over. I didn't know that. 7 match points. Yeah, I was thinking that, Raz. Yeah, I didn't know if it was 5 or 7. Yeah, better post that for sure. I mean, the combination of these 2 shots in a row, especially. Yeah, Kouame is fine. I definitely want to catch some of his final ground qualifying today against Vatutin once this is over. But at the same time, it's for now it's just a shell of his game, right? We don't actually know that this will turn into something. but for his age, he's incredible, of course. Especially like movement wise and physically as well. He's very developed. There's certainly lots to like there. From here, though, I think it's all about like development, and that's not something we can really, have any saying in, right? Could be a bit of a De Bruyne-like thing, where like he's amazing at 15, then gets stuck for a couple of years, and hopefully gets unstuck. I mean, we would like to think that De Bruyne has gotten unstuck now, although that still kind of remains to be seen, I suppose. Well, that's another massive return from Jérôme to get an error. Oh, wow. And the incredible shots keep coming of the Swiss bracket. I mean, sure, Humbert could have placed this approach much better. He could have just literally looked where Jérôme was standing. But still, that's an awesome forehand pass. So 0-30 now. Once more, things are happening on the Humbert serve as well. It's not just Jérôme who was struggling in the previous game. I think in the previous Humbert game as well, right? 1-2, it was love 30, and he kind of had to come up with a few really good points to get out of that. So let's see if he can also produce here. Well, at least for now, he gets a bit of a helping hand from the Swiss. I think Kouame is going to play Vatutin at after Gauthier Shellbike, right? Or something like that. So it might actually be pretty soon. I'll try to keep an eye on that as well if they start relatively shortly. Of course, it would be a pretty big story if a 2009 born player qualified for a challenger. We haven't actually had a 2009 born player winning a match on the Challenger Tour yet, not in the main draw, I mean. I think only Kouame and Luis Miguel have appeared, so there weren't that many opportunities. And actually, this is good for me because Shellbach and Gauthier went 3 sets. So hopefully I will be able to see more of the match of the young Frenchman. Anyway, 30-all here, but Kim is on the attack. However, yeah, that shot should just win Humbert the point, and he misses the put-away passing shot. I know that a passing shot is, well, it can be a put away sometimes, right? It's fine to call it that, I think, in this case. Jérôme was, I think the instinct was fine to approach the net there, but Hugo's forehand on the stretch seemed like it was going to be way more than good enough. It actually was because, yeah, he had so much time, could do anything with that last shot, and he just sent it out, which I guess classifies as anything. So, it was very much in the possible options. Oh, wow. Well, I don't know if this was really, what he intended to do, but Kim almost found a ridiculous return winner here. I want to see it on replay. Well, yeah, he didn't. He intended to do that. It's just a bit long. But yeah, if he broke like this, pretty sick. But now it's more quality serving at his backhand from Humbert. And it's not that easy to control it. In fact, even that serve where Kim almost landed the return winner, that was also good. That was not the serve after which we would have said, nah, he isn't hitting his spots, or he's giving it to him in his strike zone. No, definitely not. And well, Humbert saves the breakpoint and now puts away this beautiful +1 forehand to get us to 3-all. It's good. Yeah, I'm definitely not disappointed so far. Humbert seems like he has brought his game to Basel for sure, and so did Kim. I have a lot of good memories from that Kim-Jere match 2 years ago in Basel for sure. That was already after Jérôme had a great match with Pedro Cachin in the summer. So we were all aware that probably Basel was going to be a good event for him, just in order to get some experience and probably push somebody. but that was also at the time very good showcase of his talent. And well, second appearance in Basel, he's also playing very well so far. Starts the next game on a double fault though. Makes up for that with an unreturned serve down the tee. This one is really working well for him so far. Had a couple of aces in that direction as well, I think. Deuce on the outside down the tee. At the same time, though, he keeps getting burned by these returns from Humbert here, and I thought he was going to go at the backhand again, which Humbert seemed ready for. However, he does make the necessary adjustment in time to find this forehand retain winner instead of the first serve, and it's again on the deuce side where Kim just gets something like that hit at him and looks pretty frustrated because, yeah, just don't expect that really. And now he's in trouble in this next point too. Can he recover? Well, it was a good attempt, but Humbert still with some really good touch finds the half volley. It dies after going over the net. Humbert is able to catch it in time, but just not really control it anymore. That's another stunning shot from Humbert. And yeah, 3 breakpoints in the previous game for Humbert on the Kim serve. Now 2 of them. Let's see. I think that first breakpoint already will be converted, yes, as the Jérôme Kim backhand is flying long here. Humbert gets the first, well, draws first blood, let's say. Truthfully, Humbert is not really a player that like kind of go out of my way to watch, at least not these days. But maybe I should more, in like these faster indoor hardcourt conditions. He's been very, very fun so far in this one for sure. And he also gets the first break in a high quality competitive affair. Kim, probably not. I don't think he's related to the North Korean president. Yeah, I saw Uesugi winning. Kokinakis is the most guaranteed title run for a player in 2024. I'll give you a bit of a spoiler, Keen, and say that I did pick Tanasi to win it. But do you remember what happened when he played these challengers last year? And generally when he played these, like when he had a few appearances on the Challenger Tour the last few years, he just didn't really have the drive, to be honest. And I don't think he was fit either when he played Playford and Sydney last year. But yeah, I'm just kind of wondering about that. But I did pick Tanasi to win that event, yes. Uesugi, yeah, I saw it, but today his opponent was like not too interesting. Well, to be honest, in the first round of the qualifying, he also didn't play anyone like insanely good, but certainly considering he's barely playing singles anymore, it was still a bit of a surprise. Djokovic fans mad at Musetti. Let me see. Comments in an interview last week. Was it the one from UTS? I guess so. Pretty good volleys. Yeah, generally, Dave, I think his touch has been something that he's been outstanding so far. And I don't just mean like volleying, but even off the ground, in order to simply run into a lot of these huge shots and basically counter and redirect right away. He needs to really get the timing spot on, and he's doing that, which obviously is also why he's so good indoors. When the conditions are perfect, when there's no wind, when there's no sun whatsoever, no real like things that can stop him from producing shots like this. The half volley at the net was insane too. Some of these returns as well that he's playing, like this is purely hand skills, right? Purely touch related as well. So I think that's really the main thing that has been incredible about his game today so far. And to be honest, I mean, it looks like that a lot of the time on a quicker, slicker court, especially. Now he's also serving extremely well in this game to go 30 love up. Favorite got the first break. Let's see if the underdog doesn't get a bit discouraged, at least in the case of this opening set. Yeah, that's another serve that's just way too good. He has to put it away this time at least, but it's just he has 20 options and chooses smart as well to just go down the middle with Kim guessing. Let's see if the temperature has been taken out of this set completely, or will we still get some twists? For now, it's Humbert with a perfect game here to go 5-3 up. Already a couple of times he's asked the someone from the organization to like get a towel out and dry out the court a bit. I don't know if it's sweat or what is it. I don't know, but he's had it a few times already. Humbert, anyway. This was still a game that he took in like a minute or so. And now it's gonna be Kim serving to stay in the opening set. Serve and volley. Yeah. A bit of a ballsy move for sure. Humbert had a lot of time. Jérôme had to react, and I think maybe the ball bounced off the edge of his racket and into his shoulder. Yeah, it happens, but thankfully it's nothing serious. If it bounces into your eye, that can be a bit awful sometimes, but I guess any other body part, you're probably okay. Who was it, like Feliciano Lopez or something like that, who had an eye injury like this at some point? Maybe Lopez or Goffin maybe in Rotterdam as well, right? That was years ago already anyway. Well, Kim has to react pretty quickly if this set isn't going to just go straight to Humbert. That's a good body serve. You could see Humbert kind of just trying to guess where the serve is going to go, making a couple of steps to the right, to the left, and then eventually he just gets it slammed at the middle and, tries to respond somehow. Tries to improvise, but it's going to be wide. 15-30 still. It's another good return. Goes forehand down the line. So good again. Even starting from the return, it's just such a good reaction for him. He's returning very close to the baseline. He's not giving Jérôme too much time. He's not giving him like any advantage really. I think that's Fabrice Martin in his box. Deadly so far, and this was another insane return, but Kim is able to pick it up right off his feet and saves himself for now, but there's one more set point and break point coming Humbert's way. Okay, a let, I guess, on the serve. This time Kim was going at the body again. Humbert with a better reaction than last time, but of course it doesn't matter since it clipped the net. The other day, I think we were talking about this with Mario, and I guess Keen in the chat asked that question, right? About the lets. If there were no lets, I think that Humbert would have already had the set. Because, I think that return would have put him in a very, very good position. Anyway, for now, Jérôme actually saves the 2 set points. So he's definitely not in favor of the potential change. This should be another good combo from Humberto. Yeah. When he gets that return relatively deep into the corner, then he just jumps on it right away, and so it's a pretty brutal showing from him so far. I definitely don't think that Kim is playing like poorly at all. It's just that usually he's going to have some time, to hit that big serve and then set up for an aggressive play. Whereas Humbert standing so close to the baseline, getting all of these good returns based purely on like his reaction time and timing and hand skills. Like he's just not allowing Kim to have all of that freedom that he kind of wants here. So it's a real quality performance from Humbert so far. Once again, though, Kim tries to go at the middle, at the body, and it works. At the body and then serve and volleying. That was his idea here. Humbert not able to move away in time. This is a good play, needless to say. Like I think it's very good from Jérôme to recognize it as well, because with the way that Humbert is returning so close to the baseline, it's going to be tougher for him to handle a body serve. If you hit a body serve with Rafael Nadal, it doesn't really matter if it's a body serve, right? I mean, he's just going to do whatever he wants with it. But if it's someone standing almost on the baseline to return your first serve, and you have a canon first serve, then that actually is a very important play. Humbert trying to go down the line here with the backhand. It's going to be long, so Kim hopeful to extend this first set at least by one game. Good to see the fight, even though it's been a struggle. Would be good for him to just set up this 6-4 here and maybe look for a break. Who knows? 6-3, 2 breaks, then Humbert starts another set. That would be pretty dangerous, I feel. But oh wow, that was another one of these where like it's almost the best return I've ever seen, but it's not. It's just out. And the previous one was actually from Kim. This one from Humbert, of course. But yeah, 5-4. Interesting question. What's the most defensive player I enjoy watching? I don't know if he's defensive, but I think someone that people really don't like watching, and I do, is Kuzmanov. I don't know why. I don't know. Just maybe I just like the guy, but I don't actually mind watching him at all, and I know some people do. He's not defensive though. He's just kind of like grinder / pretty bland, right? If you may, but yeah, definitely that's someone that I think people don't really enjoy, and I do. I'm sure there's a better answer in there somewhere. Just can't come up with it at present time. I think a lot of these like more defensively oriented players, they are good to watch in certain matchups when there's a nice clash of styles. But yeah, probably on their own, when they're facing especially someone who is similarly minded, that's tricky then. Would you count Navone as a defensive player? I wouldn't at all. So I don't think he can really be an answer there. But I think Carballes Baena is a very good watch. But again, he's kind of more of a Kuzmanov-like type, right? Just an offensive grinder. Reality is we don't have all that many like very defensively minded players on the tour. I think, like, for example, Coria can be super fun sometimes, but it's when he goes out there and just kind of steps out of that comfort zone. That performance he had against Munar in Szczecin last year was something incredible, for example. But yeah, I can't say I enjoy his game maybe like all the time. I'm definitely a bit of a big weapons guy rather than anything else. Like, you wouldn't call Arnaldi a defensive player either, right? Very matchup dependent, I guess, but you wouldn't. But when he plays defense, I like watching him. Oh yeah, I can say that. When he plays one of these like feels type-ish players, I definitely do enjoy him. But yeah, as usual with I think with questions like this, it's pretty tough to say who's like a defensively oriented player and who's not, because reality is that the game has gotten like a lot more than before. It's more about power right now. It's more about what you can do for yourself with the first shot, with an easy weapon that is kind of not going to break down regardless of the situation. So there's less and less, fewer and fewer players primarily focused on defending. Anyway, this was also a very quick service game for Humbert, so that's a good sign for him coming into the second set, that the last two games he took to love. Jérôme didn't really have much to do here. Maybe he didn't have to be so wild on that love 30 return, but at that stage, I guess you might as well try. So yeah, 6-4. Are we gonna get some stats on my screen? We are. So let me tell you what they are. Kim 8 and 9 winners, unforced errors. Humbert 17-9. So that already also gives you a good indication of his quality in this set. Won 9 more points than Kim. Unreturned serves also much more than Jérôme. 1 more on first serve, 1 more on second serve. 1 out of 7 on breakpoints. Jérôme only had the 1. But that felt important, right? That was when the set was still even. So that could have maybe gone a little bit different if he converted it then. I guess we might not get the other screen with the stats. With like the forehand, backhand speeds and everything. No, or was that the? I don't. Oh no, that was actually the one, right? I guess they just use different stats for this event rather than what they had in like Tokyo or whatever. Oh no, maybe it was Shanghai actually that I'm thinking of. Yeah, I think it was Shanghai, which had like more detailed info, which makes sense since Shanghai obviously is an ATP 1000. Nishioka, yeah, I don't really like watching Nishioka to that much, to be honest. Not the best player to like after all his support for the Russian invasion. Who? Kuzmanov? Or I don't actually know anything about his support for the Russian invasion, to be honest. I'm not saying... okay. Sorry, I thought you said Kakhmazov. Yeah, Kakhmazov is pretty fun to watch, but he's definitely not defensively oriented, yeah. He's fun to watch when it's a fast, slick, low bouncy court like Astana, like Chengdu, then he's fun to watch. But like on clay, I wouldn't really want to... No, not really. But yeah, I was talking about Dimitar Kuzmanov. Nishioka, when he's raging, can be pretty annoying, yeah. That I think last when I watched him live was Cagliari 2023, and he was like really getting on my nerves. But that was during that patch when he was just in every single match, he was just throwing rackets, talking some absolute nonsense, and eventually I think he got a bit better with that this year at controlling himself simply. And of course, I'm not saying that this is something that every player has to do in order to produce, in order to play well. I think there are some players who can basically just, go all out and be so wild on the court with how they react to stuff, and that actually helps them calm their emotions. But I think it was pretty clear in 2023 that Nishioka was not benefiting from that. It was a sad day for the serve and volley lovers with Bellier retiring. Yeah, obviously, Bellier. Sorry, I was reading the next comment. I was a bit confused. I will get to that in a second, of course. So yeah, Bellier, of course, it's a rare breed. He was a bit of a weird serve and volleyer in that I don't think he was even that good at the net, right? He was a bit, I know he wasn't that fluid in terms of his movement. He couldn't cover the angles that properly, but definitely the lefty serve cannon and. Some good touch as well when he was in position. He was a bit wooden at the net, though, I would say. But yeah, if someone enjoys serve and volleying, like pure classic serve and volleying, then you basically have to focus on like 5-10 players now. So one of them retiring so early at the age of 28. And I did enjoy Antoine's game a lot when I watched that carpet event in Ismaning last year. Talked to him as well, of course, as he won that event. And just pretty wild to think about that, that 12 months ago, almost exactly 12 months ago, Ismaning was held during the ATP 1000 Paris week last year. So basically 51 weeks ago, I was watching Antoine Bellier win a challenger next to Munich. And then, well, the challenger isn't around and Bellier isn't around anymore, which, well, I certainly wouldn't have expected. I think I learned about Ismaning getting off the calendar in May this year when I met the press officer from that event in Mauthausen. And Bellier, of course, he just announced his retirement after playing like more or less a full season last week. So pretty big shockers there. Have I watched the guy who beat Ramanathan today? I have to remind myself who that even was. I know Oklepo played earlier and he lost to Huang, but there was also one more match. Oh, Isamura. No, I don't think I have. I mean, I know his name from draws, but I don't recall watching him at least. Ramanathan actually, like, very quietly has made it to 270 in the rankings, which is pretty shocking, to be honest. Because, yeah, you would think that with the losing streaks that he's had the last couple of years, that his singles career is pretty much done. But, well, maybe not. I mean, one more good run and he goes into some qualifying range, even if it's like a really major run. I doubt he'll do it, but, you know, we can't deny that there is the possibility he will. Anyway, let's see what Jérôme Kim will be cooking here. He won the first game. It was relatively, like, okay, it wasn't relatively tricky. Like, Humbert just won 1 point with a ridiculous return winner again. But, well, now he has that first game on the board in the second set, and now we're going to see if he can actually apply some pressure to the Frenchman here. This was good, approaching the net, making Ugo hit this ridiculous forehand passing shot, which didn't end up going in. But yeah, certainly made the margins pretty slim for Humbert. Good scrambling here from Kim too, but I think he'll just miss the final lob. Very irritated. Of course, this was a point he was like pretty much destined to lose from the get-go, but that tells you he's like very desperate to try to hunt for something here. Really wanted this one. This is a good return from him too. Okay, I was thinking he might attack that backhand cross-court a bit more, but actually he played it slower, and then Humbert made an error, which is also a strategy of sorts against Humbert, I think. Sometimes it's easier for him to play all of these, you know, high-speed, high-octane forehands on the run and everything when you're just firing at him rather than just feeding him a ball like this. Not sure how much Jérôme actually, you know, was aware of that, what sort of ball he was going to give Humbert. Maybe he just didn't hit it too clean. Anyway, here definitely we can say that the Swiss was expecting a serve out wide against the lefty on the outside, 50-30, important point, can't blame him, but Humbert actually goes T. And that is a very good decision. It is indeed Fabrice Martin in the Hugo Humbert box. It's another really good T serve from Humbert. Closes out with the +1 winner. And gets to 40-30. Humbert was standing so close to the doubles alley, and Kim just like ran to his backhand corner in order to cover that serve out wide. And Humbert actually once again tried going T, but didn't make it from that angle. Anyway, he gets the game in the end, 1-game-all. But yeah, that was pretty hilarious. He was like almost, you know, the furthest you can stand away from the middle of the court on the outside, basically, to serve. And yeah, Kim just started sprinting towards that backhand the moment that Ugo struck the ball. He would have been completely wrong, but of course, the Frenchman didn't make that serve. Anyway, after 52 minutes, 6-4, 1-game-all in the second set. Humbert has undeniably been the better player, but as long as the second set is close, we can't really think of this as like a final decision yet, and still lots can potentially happen here. Yeah, even on the second serve, Humbert is able to take time away a lot. Just because he's returning close to the baseline and he's got such good hands. Kim not quite able to get into position for his backhand here. Ooh. Gets this one done though. Humbert almost connecting with that backhand return, but not quite this time. Yeah, sorry. Was just got a message that I kind of had to read, but okay, it's fine. Well, Kim had this point at 30-15 when he was at the net and couldn't clean up the volley, but now he's much better at this overhead. So 40-30, definitely showing a lot of fight here with his reactions as well. Apparently, I don't know if anyone is interested, but apparently Schwarzer and Merzer have aren't working anymore, or aren't working together anymore. I didn't know that, but that apparently happened like 2 weeks ago or something like that. Anyway, today of course Joel will play Alexander Zverev in Vienna. And probably doesn't have too much of a shot to win this. I mean, it's just such a tough match for him there. Not really sure what he can do in order to potentially prevail. He obviously will hit a few brilliant shots, but just the consistency to beat someone like that, I'm not sure it's fully there at the moment. Anyway. In the Vienna match that we have on right now, Flavio Cobolli has just won the first set over Alejandro Davidovich Fokina 7-6. Flavio probably the slight favorite there, although he's actually playing his first ATP Tour indoor event, I think. He played Davis Cup though, so it's not like he doesn't have experience. He played some indoor matches on the Challenger Tour as well, some of them quite memorable. There's this one against Kotov in Forli years back, which was just insane with the crowd atmosphere and everything. I think right now he doesn't really have an indoor problem anymore. And Davidovich Fokina this year has a bit of an, well, all tournaments problem in a way. At least relative to his potential. Well, let's see if Kim can fight for something here. This is good. But Humbert is going to be able to get to that short return in time. Sorry, I got a little distracted there, but it's nothing important. Well, not right now, at least. Humbert going at the body of Kim this time. He uses the trick that the Swiss was unleashing on him against him, making him taste his own medicine. Does Chiquita produce bananas? I think so, right? Because there's so many logos of that company, and that's the only thing it reminds me of. I guess it's a good sponsor for a tennis tournament. I mean, usually at tennis tournaments, you're gonna also, well, probably they don't produce bananas, but they rather like export them or something. Although maybe you can call it producing if they are actually farming them. But anyway, what I was trying to say is that it's a good sponsor for a tournament, since usually at a tennis tournament you're gonna see a lot of bananas anyway, and I would imagine in most cases that they aren't sponsored. Anyway, Humbert gets the game. What am I even talking about? Good morning, Ashley, as well. Yeah, that's an interesting one, definitely, Keen. I don't mind that decision, I guess. Although what I read just now was that basically Meltzer wasn't able to give him as much time as Joel needs right now. That like he needs right now like a very individual coach. But I don't know. It just seemed like that relationship was really good. Like Meltzer really believed in the project, and Schwarzler said that they like play very similar games, so they can easily get along. I know that he definitely basically got a lot from that partnership, and I guess I was just expecting it would last a while longer, but apparently not. I don't really like wear tennis specific shoes. Like I just play in the shoes that I run in as well. I'm not gonna have like separate shoes for running, for tennis, for table tennis, and for anything else. It's a little too much for me. I actually have to buy a pair though, because the ones that I have presently are like on the verge of falling apart. Whew, another one of these insane returns from Humbert. Once again, Kim sends him to that backhand corner on the deuce side, and well, I don't know if it's going to be all that important considering it happened at fairly low for the Swiss, but so many of these. So like Kim never can really feel safe on his serve here, even if he's got the first serve in. And that's important, I suppose. Well, it's a long rally here. Humbert is constantly just improving his position in it. It was a very impressive point from him. Kim was just getting more and more late to the ball, eventually hits that backhand, which kind of looked like it might float out, but Humbert is unbothered and just fires the forehand down the line winner. So fairly all now. This is the week Reis da Silva title from qualifying. I mean, we'll see, but he is so random that I just don't know if I'm ever going to be able to say, oh yeah, this is the week. Katarina, I mean, yeah, he peaked in Monte Carlo every single year, but he didn't have anything interesting about his game, really. Vacheron is so much better. Katarina just played well in Monte Carlo every single time, basically. And most of the time it was just the favorites not bringing the level that day, or well, just not being that good on clay in the first place, like Fritz or Raonic. But obviously, yeah, these performances are kind of legendary. But yeah, I think Vacheron is 10 times better. Well, there was a break point here for Humbert, but Kim saves it with a serve down the tee again. That's one that he's really been finding a lot here. And it's getting him very important points. Of course, at this stage of the match, one break for Humbert might just end it all. So even more vital than usual for Jérôme to hold here. You see that, yeah, Gaston is out of Brest, so that's good for Benjamin Bonzi, who was going to play him in the opening round. Maybe Bonzi can indeed go for that 3 titles in 3 weeks quest. Brest actually, the draw kind of falling apart. So you've got Gaston already out, Lestien out, you've got Bellucci out. Quite a lot of them, actually. Puy earlier than this, I think before the draw was even made, but it's still very strong, obviously. We still have Fonseca Majchrzak to look forward to tomorrow, but it's definitely gotten a little less spicy, I would say. But well, Kim digs himself out of trouble with some more good serving. We already have the schedule out for Vienna tomorrow as well, and Dominic Thiem will play at 6 p.m. Or rather, not before 6 p.m. That probably means that I won't be able to watch most of it. Nishikori Draper, so the potential rivals for him in the second round, is what's going to be sort of like headlining action on center court. 8 first round matches tomorrow in Vienna, so I guess they're moving 4 of them to Wednesday. On Wednesday, then you have Paul for sure. You've got Dimitrov because they went so deep, right? I think Khachanov's first round match as well. Whoever he plays, I don't remember. So yeah, basically the players who went deep the week before, they're getting the Wednesday start, which is obviously well, makes sense. And yeah, 4 singles matches on center court, 4 singles matches on Glaubandisch, and 2 doubles matches as well later in the day. But yeah, the main thing is Thiem 6 p.m. I think that's the schedule we were expecting, right, in terms of Thiem. Because it's kind of like it's kind of always been like this, that that Thiem plays Tuesday in Vienna. And then also 6 p.m. I thought was the more obvious time, the start of the evening session, the way that Zverev and Schwartzler are also playing today in the evening session rather than here. Rather than the last match of the day is what I'm trying to say, rather than Popyrin Menchik. So yeah, Thiem 6 p.m. tomorrow, likely his last ever match. But if not, then Nishikori or Draper would be his next opponents. He did already beat Alexander Zverev, and I believe that if you enter the ATP race on the ATP website, you're actually going to see Thiem with 500 points more for winning Vienna, which of course is a mistake, but it's a pretty funny one. Unless they already fixed the issue since the morning. But basically the exhibition match that Thiem and Zverev played yesterday, that was somehow logged in as a Vienna final for both of them. But well, I'm pretty sure they're gonna fix it sometime soon. Well, Kim will like that return back, that's for sure. That was an opportunity. Opening up the court for himself very well here. Humbert approaches the net, will not have to play the volley, but if he had to, he would have had some really good chances to win the point anyway. Now that's a sick serve out wide. This is the kind of positioning that he had earlier when Kim had that, that moment when he was just like running to that corner. And this time Humbert is able to actually surprise him with this. Just insane angle. You're never getting there. And he gets to 40-15. Two returns in this game where Kim would have loved to, just get another shot, get another chance. Two very makeable second serve returns. At least on this one, he was trying to go like all out. He was just smashing it into oblivion. The previous one was a little more, composed. So maybe that one was one that he will miss even more. But anyway, for now, that's where we are. By miss, I mean like regret. Anyway, 3 games all, so still holding on. I think the second set has gotten maybe slightly more, just about quality serving from both guys. And even though there were some mini chances for sure, it's kind of lost a bit of the tension that we had at the beginning of the opener. But let's see. Maybe one of them will now step it up and once again. Well, for now, it's Kim who will have to come up with some great serves to get himself out of another hole, it seems. Well, so far it's just 1 point, but now the second serve as well. And if he can't win this one, and he probably won't, yes, indeed, given where Humbert is in the court. Like, even if you didn't see the ball, even if you didn't see where Kim was standing, if you just looked at Humbert's movement on the court, like especially up and down this point, you would just kind of have a very good feeling of how it's going. And that's exactly what happened in the end. So love 30 here on the Kim serve. Needs a reaction, and he finds one with a serve on the line. Humbert has absolutely nothing to do here. Didn't even catch that slider with his racket, not even, by a tiny bit. 15-30. Needs more of that. This is the side of the court where he's usually trying to go T. This time he surprises Humbert because Humbert was already moving in that direction. But it's a let in the end. But you could clearly see that Humbert is guessing T rather than out wide. And Kim was successful in surprising him there. However, the let might stop his plans a little bit. This time he goes for the old trusted T serve, but it's into the net. So second serve here, and Humbert will really feel like this is his chance. But he tries to take it early off the backhand, approach the net. The return is just going to be miles long, though. just like Jérôme had these 2 returns in the previous game that he would like to get another go at. I think that's one where Humbert certainly would feel like it. This was a proper chance to get to 2 breakpoints. Now it seems like all the arguments are once again in Jérôme's hands, really, and that's exactly the case as he fires a good serve down the tee to get us to 40-30. He's won the last 3 points. Can he clinch the 4th and close out this game before it gets too tricky? Yes, that's another massive delivery down the tee. So 4-3 for Kim. Another moment where there's a glimmer of hope for Humbert to potentially break and put himself in such an amazing position in the second set and in the match. But he doesn't get it done. There's more quality serving from Kim, and that one return at 15-30, which was obviously a big opportunity missed for the Frenchman. Did Muratoglu smell nice? Wow. No, I'll end the stream. Don't worry. Okay, there were a few comments here. Santillan still hasn't played. I can't believe I've got to give up on my goat. Yeah, maybe he's just done. Maybe he's just recovering from some injury, but certainly a colorful character we're missing right now. Camera angle on the other court in Basel is terrible. Okay, haven't seen it yet this year, I think, because I watched Bernat playing Fonini in the qualifying, so that would have been... actually, I don't know which court that would have been, but I guess I didn't come by it in the qualies. We'll probably see something, though. Baby Zhukayev, how far it will get in the rankings? 150, I don't know. He's just so... if we're talking about serve bots, he qualifies. Team wildcard surprised me? No, obviously not. I mean, to Vienna. He should have played qualifying, right? No, obviously he was gonna get a wildcard. Felix Mischke took a set of Musetti, really? No idea. Dave talking about that ace from Humbert. Did Muratoglu smell nice? Wow. That's pretty insane. Did you watch the Six Kings Slam or were you not into it? I didn't watch a single point, not even a highlight. Yeah, I mean, too many events at the same time that are so much more interesting to me. 3 250s last week, all of them with good stories, and 5 challengers. I'm not gonna waste my time on an exhibition. That's my very firm position regarding this. Let's just say that. But I mean, if someone enjoyed it, go ahead. I didn't see the last Djokovic Nadal match, but I kind of don't care. I also didn't watch the Olympics match, so I guess the last Djokovic Nadal match that I've seen was a while ago. But well, not gonna cry about it. Even if the first tennis match I remember watching from start to finish was actually Djokovic Nadal, so it's also a pretty nostalgic matchup for me in a way. But I mean, now my interests are very different. Well, this could have been a 40 for Kim. I don't know if it would have been deserved, given it would have been after a dead net court, but it actually falls on the side of the Swiss. It's getting a bit more patchy here, not in the sense that the quality has dipped. I don't think it has, but just a little more patchy in that, well, towards the end of the set, we're starting to see some, just a touch more nerves, a few more points that feel like they matter a great deal more. And so far, of course, the servers have been winning them. Looks like after that low 15 point, which looked a bit shaky, Humbert is also gonna just advance with with a series of good serves and then a put away here. So 4 games all. Still no breaks in the second set, only that one that Humbert had in the opener. And that eventually got him the set, of course. Kim isn't going down without a fight, but of course it's absolutely vital for him to keep holding. And then who knows, 4-5, 5-6. We know how tricky these games tend to be. I like how Humbert is kind of reacting to these, to this missed return. He's like very positive about it and just knows it was the right play. Didn't work out at the given moment, but you can see he's really just saying, "Yep, that's the way. Keep going, keep going." Something happening in the crowd, I guess, because Kim has to stop, but we're back now. Well, the little delay didn't stop him from putting in another wonderful serve down the tee. Humbert slides his serve so well out wide. Kim does it down the tee, but both of them have been winning so many points with that today. But, well, Jérôme is also determined to show us that he can also slice his serve out wide and does it here. So this is a very unintriguing game with just big serves flying left and right and not allowing Humbert to do much. Looks like Humbert won't be quick enough with this match in order for our producer to see us through. Yep, exactly. It's a quick game for Kim. He goes 5-4 up. At least here he had to hit a couple of shots. Took that forehand very early and then advances to the net to put the volley away. 5-4 for Kim. And now we're going to see what Ugo Humbert is made of today. He's made of carbohydrates, fats, protein. He's made of water. But is he made of steel in terms of his nerves? Let's see after the change of ends. Muratoglu smelled neutral. Tactic to slow the momentum, but hardcore Djokovic fans are extremely unforgiving. I'm not even sure what that's all about. Which Djokovic Nadal was my first complete match? Yeah, exactly. Dave is right. The Australian Open 550 something final. Lots of let's say just neutral feelings about the Djokovic Nadal rivalry here, interestingly, which is probably not what happens generally in the tennis discussions. People tend to absolutely love that one. And Jane is asking if I'm interested in Kim. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's tough not to be interested in Jérôme Kim. He's just too good for me not to be interested. But yeah, I mean, this is why we're doing the match today. I mean, I basically had to go for something that was either late in the day or early in the day, because just after this match, I'm going to be doing some work. And basically, what happened when John asked me whether there is a match I want to do today, I just looked at the schedule and I was like, okay, so the first slot would be pretty good for me. And that's probably the match I want to watch the most today out of Basel, Vienna, Humbert against Kim. And yeah, I am interested in Kim, if you want to call it like that. Yes, absolutely. I think, for the past 2 or 3 years, it was clear he has the potential, but the body was not really allowing him to compete at the highest level. And well, now he's there. Now he's actually doing much better and probably is going to attack the top 100 next year. Still just 21 years of age as well. Exciting playstyle. Sign me up. But yeah, like Jane, most of the time when I'm doing a match and it's a player you don't recognize, so that's probably because I chose it. Of course, when there's like a later stage of the event, John would suggest a match maybe sometimes, or I don't know, maybe it's just a semi-final or a final, then of course there's not that much to choose from as well. But if it's an early round, then usually, it's just me doing whatever I want to watch. I don't think I've ever, well, actually I have, but not, I wanted to say I don't think I ever have done a watch along on a match that I didn't want to watch. That's actually not true. Sinner Fritz, for example, this US Open. But like most of the time, especially if it's an early round, I'm just choosing whatever I want to watch or whatever is most convenient. But in this case, these two things were pretty much synonymical. So yeah, Humbert also with another very quick hold, 5 games all, as we are entering the decisive stages of the second set. The last few games definitely lost some of that temperature, but that's mostly because they're just serving too well and no one is able to make any crack in the other's delivery. So basically, we're gonna have to wait and see if that remains the case until the breaker or not. Kim with a nice serve and volley here too, but once again, this is just won by the quality of his serving, nothing else. Pretty interesting because usually matches tend to be maybe a little different, right? That at first the serves are very tough to crack, and then it's actually in the second, maybe third set where things even out a bit and you start reading the other guys serve better. But now it's just like they've taken a step back in terms of their returning. Especially Humbert, maybe, who was early on was just fantastic with how well he was guessing, how early he was taking it, and yeah, just constantly giving Jérôme trouble with his returns. But maybe these times are about to be back. I mean, it's love 30 already, but now 15-30 as from Humbert's perspective, I mean, because he actually hits one of these really good returns. And Jérôme trying to serve and volley is going to be stuck in no man's land. That's another really good serve from Kim, though. Has to put it away, but that won't be an issue for him here. 40-15, as he's just trying to close out this game and ensure that he will at least play a tiebreak in this one. I mean, he obviously deserves this tiebreak, I think, in the second set. In the first, we could very clearly say that Humbert has been the better player. I think especially over the last 5 or 6 games, this edge has basically been covered up by Kim, and he indeed claims the game. So at least a tiebreak against Humbert. This is what he has right now in the second set. But he will also be able to potentially hunt for more at 6-5. Ayeni have a good shot against Taro? Probably not, right? I mean, I know that Taro is well, in pretty horrible form himself, but like, how do you expect Ayeni to take advantage of that? I wonder what would happen if Wong plays Taro in the quarters, though. because that would actually make a lot of sense, given that last year they had this incredible classic, and kind of Wong just has this game where he overwhelms you. Taro doesn't have too many options to answer to that. Ayeni seemingly has the same game, but no, I mean, yeah, I don't really see it. How has the match been so far, Jake? I think very high quality, competitive, lots of good serving in the second set. First set, Humbert was so impressive with like his hands, really, the redirections on the run, the volleys, the quick returns. The returns he's taking very quickly off the bounce. But now it's kind of evened out in the second set, and of course Kim has already secured that 6-5, so he will at least play a tiebreak here, and I think absolutely deserves that. But yeah, high quality, competitive. You can see why Humbert loves courts like this. You can see why Kim is as good as he is, and that's really it. That's a good idea for sure about that 10-second thing. I think not even for Nadal, but in general in tennis we have so much dead time, right? Yeah, I mean Van Wyk is after a full college run, right? So that's why he is not 21. Even like about 2 years after his full college run. So I think is he like a Nuno Borges birth year or something like that? Probably not. Probably like 1 year younger, right? But I'm actually not sure, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think he was 21 because of that. Yeah, because of the fact that he played the full college career. Yeah, so he's 96 born, and Nuno is also 96 or 97. I think Nuno might be 96 as well. Oh no, 97. But they were born like 4 or 5 months apart, so I wasn't too wrong that they would be more or less around the same age. And same years in college, probably. Well, so far, Kim in this game is just unable to put a return in. I don't know if it's even a specifically good Humbert service game, but Jérôme is not really connecting with anything, so it likely will be the tiebreak now. That will help us decide who eventually gets this match done. And well, Humbert this time with a 6 serve. This one, even if Kim was, I don't know, 3 meters tall and could stretch like this, he would be unable to catch that serve out wide, I think. So anyway, 6 games all now, and we will be entering the tiebreak. Well, I can't really say either player has more momentum going into this one. It's clearly been a very competitive set, much tighter than the opener. And let's see if the Swiss can extend this to 3 or if Ugo Humbert will eventually move on. Oh, wow. That's another stunning return from Humbert. Kim trying to serve and volley, and Humbert just so good, like reacting quickly, taking it early. It's probably the worst type of return you actually can see when you're serving volleying, right? Like even if it was directed at Kim, he would have an issue doing something with his ball, but it actually just flies past him. This is the type of returning that really gets people in trouble when they're trying to serve and volley, like Ridi crushing Cressy, right? Or I don't know, Mahach definitely is also very good at returns like this. And very good at facing serve and volleyers at the same time because of that. Well, Humbert gets the early mini break. Let's see what he can do. It's a net court that should help him out in the end, but actually there's still a chance for Kim. Well, not in the end. Well, Jérôme got a pretty short ball, was trying to attack it, but that net court put him in a position where he was always struggling there. Still had chances here. Like, yeah, he was basically trying to build up a wall at the net, play a couple of really good volleys and somehow win this, but of course that didn't happen. Eventually, Humbert kind of wins it on maybe one shot too many, but it doesn't matter. So still that 1 mini break. Can he go up 3-love? First serve is in, but Kim is in the point. Gets Humbert on the move. Gets him really on the move now. And that's really good as well from him, that dropper. I think that was a very good in sort of like improvisation midpoint. Had to do something. It was going to be a pretty tricky ball in order to, if he was going to play it in the other, into the corner. So I think finding this impromptu drop shot, that's a cool idea. And he gets the mini break back. And also gets an ace. Humbert this time guessing wrong. Well, one more good serve for Kim, so that will be, that's a really good spot for him now to try to look for at least one mini break on the next 2 points. One more before we change ends, of course. Humbert complaining about something. I guess the balls haven't been transferred from Kim's. Yeah, the balls haven't been transferred from Kim's side to his. Ooh, this time Kim going for an Humbert style return, but it lands in the net. So after 6 points in the breaker, we still don't know anything. Let's see, 3 points all. Kim is on the attack, but he just isn't gonna... Well, he's gonna shank this a little bit on the forehand. This was an opportunity as well. He was on top. He had that mid-court ball. Knew what he has to do with it. Just didn't find the right timing on this, really. But anyway, 4-3 Humbert. Still no mini breaks, so it's not like he's in deep trouble yet. That's an interesting one from Humbert as well. He was kind of like, yeah, full on running to that down the tee spot. Anyway, now we're actually going to see whether he can produce something on the second serve return. Kim still is on top of this rally. I don't know what he's going to be able to do with this, though. Humbert has probably neutralized by now, but will just float that lefty forehand. Actually, the Kim backhand going pretty flat here, and even though Humbert likes that type of ball, this time he didn't manage to handle it. Maybe he was trying to loop it a little bit more than usual, and yeah, it just cracked on this shot. So 4 points all. Still absolutely no edge for either player in this breaker. Whew. And an ace down the tee for Kim now. So he is actually the player to go up 5-4. But again, Humbert goes for the trusted serve out wide at the Kim backhand, and it's going to bring him the point. So 5-all, and we now know that the next point, obviously after the next point, we're going to have a set point or a match point. Let's see. Well, at least it's a rally, and Humbert is trying to go line with the backhand, but I think he's gonna miss it long. Yes, so that's a mini break for Kim, and it's by far the clearest chance he's had at taking a set here, and it's by far the clearest chance he's had at taking it to the third set. He was leading 6-5 and 5-4 with Humbert serving, but these games didn't really go, according to plan for him. Right now, he has a set point on his serve. Of course, there was already a mini break for Humbert in this tiebreak, but that was the very first point. Since then, he hasn't been able to touch Kim's serve. And yes, he goes T to take us to the third set. So this match is not over yet. Not at all. 6-4, the opening set went to Humbert, but now Kim is back. Kim is up. Kim wins the second. 7-6, 7-5 in the breaker. Really not much to say about this whole set because it was so dominated by the servers, but obviously that was also something that Kim did right, was able to avoid all these issues that he was falling into in the opener, especially in the second part of the set, first sort of adjusting to go more at the body, then finding all of these sliders down the tee like constantly. Now also flatter serves down the tee are looking better. And in fact, you can see that the quality of his serving this set has been so important because he actually had 50% unreturned serves. Humbert still won one more point than Kim over the course of the set, but obviously the more important points were won by Jérôme. 77% on second serve points won from the Swiss as well, which in the first set was at 40%. Only one break point the entire set for the Frenchman, but he didn't take it, and now he is going free. I'm definitely more of a Celsius kind of guy. I mean, I live in Europe. How would I be a Fahrenheit guy? Fahrenheits are confusing. Like, I know some things, 100, 212. Yeah, I know that. 0, 32. But it still takes me a while. Like, if you say to me 80 Celsius, turn it into Fahrenheit, I would have to think about it, right? Which is, yeah, I'm more used to Celsius for sure, definitely. Compressed match replays where they cut out anything except the actual play. Yeah, I think we should have more of that. And it's pretty shocking to see how little tennis there is actually in tennis matches. Do I think Humbert will win the second serve? I'm a bit confused by the question, to be honest. Sweeney upset against Rinky. I mean, maybe. Did I see Eva exposing herself tweet after tweet? Eva, you mean the Polish Iga fan? I don't think so. Like, I haven't seen a tweet from her recently. I follow her, I'm pretty sure, but I don't think I've seen the tweets. So what do you mean by exposing herself? So you mean the fact that Sabalenka got to number 1 today? I don't know. I mean, personally, I don't think it matters a great deal who is number 1 right now, right? It's more important at year end. But I don't know. If it's a proven advantage to be left-handed in tennis, why do more players not switch when they're very young? I mean, it takes a lot of determination, right? It's not like, oh, I'm just going to start playing left-handed. It really has to be a big plan. And I mean, we're just people. Like, you want to get results right away. Of course, it's a process, the development of a young tennis player, but you're not always like when you're first hitting with your racket, you're not thinking about what you're going to be doing in your career 30 years later or 20 years later, right? So it's not that easy. I mean, you're mostly at first you're just mostly thinking, do I like this? Does my child like this? Then you kind of want results when you start playing, some junior events and everything. So I mean, it's also not an advantage to that extent, right? It's details. And yeah, the number one spot over Riga, the fact that it happened today and not in a week, I don't really see what it exactly is important about this, because it was going to happen anyway before the WTA finals. Never seen Kim before. Well, he is definitely quite good. I injured my right wrist and decided to play left-handed for 4 months. It was getting pretty good faster than I expected, but serving was almost impossible, says Dave. Yeah, my dad had a broke his collarbone last year, and he tried playing with the left hand a little bit. And just like you, I mean, serving, nah. But hitting off the ground, yeah, he could hit something. I also played doubles once with a friend of mine who had a left arm injury, and he also played with his left hand, which, I mean, he could hit slice balls off his backhand, but his backhand just wasn't strong enough to hit topspin, actually. And he also wasn't serving. He was just serving underarm. So, I mean, yeah, obviously these are very specific cases when you start doing that at a later age of your career. But yeah, it would take a lot of determination to teach someone who is not naturally left-handed to play left-handed. And, well, reality is at the beginning of your tennis playing days, who has that determination when you're like 5 years old? And also, who knows that you're actually going to, that's actually going to matter in your life, that you're actually raising a professional tennis player who's going to be any good. Like, you never really know that when someone is 5 years old. So it's not that easy, I would say. One-handed, two-handed switches a little easier. We've had players do that when they were like, in their teenage years. But I think with lefty righty, it's a much more tricky subject. Carpet courts and only one serve allowed would be a perfect condition for tennis. Yeah. Ronnie O'Sullivan is the best example. Yeah. There is that famous story, which is also might be one of these myths, but when he played a left-handed shot in the 90s, and basically someone reported him to the commission of snooker or something like that, and then they forced him to play a very good player left-handed, and he crushed him. I think that story has also been proven to be like a little bit of a myth, but at the same time, of course, yeah, he plays a lot of shots left-handed when it's more suitable, and clearly he is really good at it too. But yeah, I think he's just ambidextrous in general. So me personally, I don't know. I mean, I would take. It would take a lot to make me learn playing with my left hand. It's actually a pretty popular thing in table tennis, for sure, to switch to your left hand for situational shots as well. But I never do it because my left hand is just absolutely horrible. I feel like I don't have a left arm at all. Anyway, we are kickstarting the third set with a quick game for Humbert. Kim actually won the first point and had a forehand inside out. He was trying to smack on the next point, but, well, didn't work out. Still, of course, it's just a hold for Humbert, so not the end of the world. I think, obviously, Kim, well, he's not going to feel like that right now. He's going to be desperate to win this clash. But in a way, Kim has already done what we were hoping he would do. He's made this really competitive. But of course, when you're actually playing, that's not the way you're going to be thinking about it. And that's also good. I mean, you don't want to be satisfied with what you've already achieved. You want to keep going for the next thing. And the next thing is literally win this match, win this tennis match, beat Humbert, beat the first top 20 player he's probably ever faced. I actually would have to check that, but I mean, I don't really know where Jérôme would be coming up against a top 20 player, truthfully. Humbert trying to go for backhand line, but he's going to miss it just by a tiny bit. Yeah, so Kim played, of course, the word number 61 here in Arthur Rinderknecht. I think Jere would have been pretty similar in Basel 2 years ago. Well, 75. But yeah, obviously this is his first match against the top 20 opponent and even a top 50 opponent. So needless to say, it would be quite a milestone, winning a match in an ATP 500 as well. But, well, the beauty of, or sometimes not the beauty, but let's say in this case, the beauty of the tennis scoring system is that he still is very far from winning this match, even though it's one set all. But, at least Humbert is similarly far from winning this match, even though he was just 2 points away in the second set tiebreak. Ooh, that's a double fault from Jérôme, though, to go 15-30 down. That's probably, that's something that we would not want to see in this set. The potential early break and then some steamrolling until the end. Hopefully that's not going to be the case for either player. Although, of course, one break does not have to mean the set is over. It's just so far in this match we've only had one. In fact, we've only seen one breakpoint since the second set started. And at least not yet, we're not going to see another one. Kim jumping up into the air a little bit on this overhead volley, but he puts it away. Still an important point though, 30 all and a second serve. Last time he was on this side of the court, he double faulted. Will be somewhat desperate to avoid a mistake like this again here. And well, Humbert once again is just not connecting with these second serve returns. This is also one of these small things that have changed about the outlook of this match. I think the last the last hour or so, is that Humbert is not putting any pressure on the Kim second serve anymore. He's just mishitting all of these returns. In the opening set, he won 60% of his second serve return points. Now it's down to 20 something in the last few games. And well, one game all. In the meantime, Flavio Cobolli defeated Alejandro Davidovich Fokina in 3 sets. How excited would I be to get to play on a grass court? I would be pretty excited, actually. And I have to do it at some point. We have 2 grass courts in Poland. One is at least 2 grass court venues. I think we have 2 grass court venues only. But to the best of my knowledge, we have 2 grass court venues. And one of them is relatively close, let's say, to where I live. It's 100 kilometers, maybe 80. To my hometown, not to where I live. So yeah, I have to do it at some point, but I don't know. Even though it's maybe not that far, it's still tough to actually make time for that. I guess I would also have to worry about the shoes because, they will definitely not let you in your usual tennis shoes there, right? It has to be something that will not destroy the surface. But yeah, at some point, of course, I would love to. it seems like it should be a court that suits my game as well. I love all these like slicker, lower bouncing indoor hard courts, so probably that one as well. I'm not going to respond to questions like who do I think will win, because that's pointless. I mean, there's absolutely no edge for either player here. Of course, Humbert is the more experienced guy and he's serving first. Yeah, he's the favorite because he was the favorite pre-match. He's not the favorite because of anything that happened in this particular encounter. So, yeah, I mean, if you're asking me who's more likely to crack under pressure, probably Kim, but does it actually matter? Yeah, it's not something that is really within my I'm not controlling that. I'm not someone who's going to be able to tell you that yeah, in this game it's going to happen, because that's not happened yet. That's only known to oracles and fortune tellers. Anyway, 2-1 Humbert. Once again, he starts his serve pretty much from the doubles alley, and Kim is not able to produce the return. He is pretty frustrated about it as well. He's unsure what to do. Yeah, grass is a little scary, but I mean, I don't know. I think for now I wouldn't really be able to. I for now at least, when you're young, I'm pretty sure I would be able to like play without any anxiety that I will slip and do something. Vatutin serving for the first set against Kouame, by the way. I remember saying that I want to watch that match after Kim and Humbert is over, but it looks like maybe even Vatutin Kouame will be over before Humbert Kim. Well, it's not that long a match, I suppose, the one that we're watching here, but in terms of the games, it is very long. It's still pretty fast, though, because of the courts and because of the pace of play that both guys like and how well they've been serving. Arnaldi, by the way, with that lucky loser spot, he was kind of, it's the Davidovich, Fokina, and Pecci Pericard situation at Wimbledon. If you remember, Sebastian Korda was going to play Alejandro Davidovich Fokina in the first round at Wimbledon, and then he gets him Pecci Pericard. So that was basically a lucky loser that was much tougher than the player he was supposed to face originally. And I think it's the same case here in Basel for Arnaldi. He was supposed to play Carballes Baena, and then actually it turns out that it's going to be Goffin. And Goffin, of course, recently with that run in Shanghai, I think that Goffin is a tougher opponent. So technically, the lucky loser doesn't actually help you in that scenario. It's a long rally to begin the Kim game, but I think Humbert is gonna miss. Yeah, this point was essentially decided by two very close baseline calls. Of course, right now we have the electronic line calling, so at least we don't have any discussion here, really. But first of all, it was Jérôme finding that backhand really deep, and now Humbert missing the forehand also in a very similar spot. Probably just a difference of centimeters, the way the two shots landed. And that difference obviously supporting the Frenchman's case here, if you may. Ooh, and again, he's just not able to capitalize on that second serve. Earlier, there was also this comment about the tape, or however you want to call it, that Kim has on his knee. Yeah, that's something that I think I don't know if I've ever seen him without, really. And knee issues is something that he's been struggling with a lot in his career. He's had many injuries, but knee especially. I think it was the knee that took him out last year in July and forced him to end his season. It was also already in pretty bad shape in Poznan when he played there in the middle of June. And then, start of July, he stopped playing. 40 love here for Kim. Eventually, that first point was pretty long, but after that, it's just more quality serving, and it's nothing that Humbert can do about that. So this is probably the most major difference, right? I mean, the major difference between the first set and the rest of this match. How well Hugo was returning there, how well he was connecting with all of these first serve returns, doing damage as well on the second serve return. And now that's gone. Now they're literally just serve botting. So that, of course, ends up sort of leading us to a much more even affair. Like literally one slip up and you might be done. Whereas in the first set, you still felt like even if Humbert maybe gets broken there in that 6th game, when he was serving at 2-3, you still felt like that there is a chance there for him to come back potentially if even if something wrong happens. Whereas right now they're both serving so well that I don't know if that will be the case if someone slips up. So far they haven't anyway. We are 1-3 of the way into the, or 33, let's say 33% of the way into the tiebreak. But of course that's still quite far off. 8 games. Humbert with the sort of like tongue sticking out there because he knows he was a little bit, fortunate maybe. He knows it wasn't his point to win maybe, and that he found a really good shot here. He seems a little bit tired right now as well. I think maybe a little bit more than Jérôme, but given how early we are in the 3rd set and how good they're serving, that's probably something that can also come and go later. But yeah, once again, it's a point at least, and Kim is scrambling pretty well, but this is going to be just Humbert smashing that forehand inside in. That's a beautiful strike here as he goes 30 love up. Haven't had a point like this for a while, I think, Humbert, but that's also because he's winning so much with his serve alone that he doesn't really need to win them. But yeah, that's already 2 beautiful winners in a way in this 5th game. Very different, but both of the forehand side. Now it's kind of Kim who's taking over the role of the attacker of second serves, as he takes time away beautifully from Humbert here, just really light on his feet and running around. 2 hours on the clock, served to us by Rado Switzerland, which is apparently the clock sponsor or whatever. But once again, that out wide serve for Humbert is just too good. It's like, sometimes it's like watching an amateur match, when someone just stands so far, like so close to their doubles alley, and you don't really know what to do with it. And here it's happening at the pro level, and I don't really blame him for it. I mean, it's just a strength that Humbert can access on courts like this, and so far he's really, of course, taking advantage of it. Kim thought he might have found that return, but apparently it's long. So 3-2 Humbert. Still no breaks in the deciding set. Goffin leading Arnaldi, but there's a couple of breakpoints back for the Italian. And in Vienna, we also have Marton Fucsovics taking on Matteo Berrettini, just starting up essentially. Has anyone ever went a full set without having to hit a second serve? Marton Fucsovics, Bratislava last year. No, 2 years ago. Sorry, I was watching this match with Jakub. In the opening set against Hanfman, maybe. He hit 23 out of 23 or something. Well, 24 out of 24, I guess it would have to be. I believe. And we weren't sure when we saw the stats. So we actually started going over the replay before we went to talk about him. To talk to him about that, because we just didn't want to be wrong, right? When you see these ridiculous stats most of the time, then you probably start feeling like, okay, that's probably a mistake. But in that case, it was not. And Fucsovics really found all his first serves there. Are there many courts near where I live? Yeah, I mean, I live in a big city, so yeah, there are many courts here. Absolutely. Dave, I was talking about this earlier today because Kim was at the net and the ball bounced off the frame of his racket into his shoulder, and I mentioned the Goffin injury. because when it struck the shoulder of Kim, of course that wasn't that big an issue, but yeah, in the eye it's pretty horrible. I haven't been hit with a tennis ball in the eye, but with a table tennis one, yes. It was pretty funny because my opponent was like, sorry, apologizing 20 times. Like, I did it to myself, it was off the frame of my racket that it went. It wasn't your shot that made me that hit me in the eye. It was myself not finding a clean hit. And yeah, just needed like a minute to regroup. I don't know if it's actually probably tennis ball, of course. If it hits you like straight in the eye, is much more unpleasant though. Definitely one of the weirder injuries you can sustain on a tennis court. Oh wow, love 30 here as Humbert finds a beautiful backhand pass. Kim did everything right here, I think. Just on the run, incredible shot. And this is maybe the game where Humbert attacks, and he does seem a bit tired right now. That's for sure. He's like really reacting to things with his box a bit more and just showing a lot of emotion after these shots. Kind of expressing that, he was a bit short on breath running to that ball, but well, he is love 30 up. Only 15-30 now. As Kim surprises him with that serve down the tee. I think Humbert was very dedicated to again just guessing there. And this time did not guess right. 9 aces for Hugo, 7 for Jérôme. But obviously lots of unreturned serves as well. This one is going to be returned, but it's still a point that Kim should be winning eventually. Although, okay, never mind. Humbert was on the ground and his moonball, I thought it was going to land in, but it actually didn't. So Kim, I don't know what he would have done. If it lands on the baseline, does he play a baseline smash? Does he just play a forehand? Who the hell knows? We're never going to find out unless he gets literally the same ball on one of the next points. Anyway, 30 all from love 30 here. Really? That's in? Okay. 40-30 then. That's 2 aces on the last 3 points for Kim. And the second point was also pretty much won with the serve. We're going to see a close call of that and even a replay. And yeah, it's in. It's in for sure. Humbert clapping his hand against the racket even after a good serve. He's done that a few times in this match. I guess he's like, this is the kind of spin that I'm getting as a lefty. As a righty, I have to appreciate it. Anyway, and Humbert just narrowly missing this backhand line, although this was not like an attempt to finish off the point. This was just a reactive shot. Anyway, from love 30, Kim holds. So far, all these like small pressure tests that he's had to endure in this third set, he's holding up in them. And so far, he's definitely okay in this. Is there still room for Popko to break his career high? What's Popko's career high? 180 maybe? 160 something? 170 something? 162. I mean, he's very close to his career high, apparently. So, well, yeah, he could do it with one good run. But at the same time, I've been pretty disappointed with him the last few months. I think he has potential. Obviously, he has done a lot of things wrong over the course of his career as well, with the fixing past, maybe present, who knows. And just in general, being a bit of a up and down, erratic player for seemingly no reason. But when he plays well, I think he could go better than 162, yeah. Then again, next year comes around and he's going to be dropping so many points right away. So maybe this is the moment for it, just I don't know, win one of these American challengers and then he can break his career high. But yeah, next year he's going to be dropping points pretty heavily in the first half of the season. So it might be his last chance really for that. Who knows? Of course, he's not super old, right? I mean, he's like, what, 27? Yeah, 27, almost 28. Well, I mean, yeah, you have to cover the white serve and give up the T serve, but then I don't know if you remember what happened in the second set when Humbert was serving there, and Humbert, Kim went wide, and Humbert just went T. I know it's tougher to hit a serve like that from that position, but it's doable. So you still have to be cautious. Obviously, you know that 90% of the time it's going to be the white serve that's coming, but at the same time, you can't really be sure that the opponent isn't going to serve T from that direction because it is possible. It might not be as precise, but it is still possible. And if you're really giving up on covering that one spot, really, then you're not going to get there. It's a tough one. I remember playing a match like maybe 3-4 years ago against a guy who was serving from that spot, and most of the time it was just going wide. And it felt very frustrating because even though I was getting these returns in play, I just didn't feel like I can attack them in any way, really. I don't know. I just was a little confused in terms of how I can actually have any advantage after he's doing that. It just made me pretty uncomfortable. Then I think maybe eventually in like the match tiebreak, I hit a return winner on the line or something like that, and it really swung the momentum in my favor. But it was very uncomfortable to play against that. I like it though sometimes because at the amateur level, people will not always like pay attention to where you stand. So sometimes you can take a few steps into in the direction of your doubles alley, and then they don't really realize that you've done that, and then you go wide and have a much easier angle. But of course, that largely depends on the opponent and whether they are attentive or not. Humbert is very jolly and kind of, yeah. He's talking a lot. He seems like he might be even like dancing to some music. It's laughing a lot to himself. Kind of, yeah, he's in a good mood. Even though he might be out of the tournament soon. Yeah, I mean the sliced serves from both, yeah, are insane. Of course, different way, but yeah. Kim on the deuce side out wide, and then on the ad side to down the tee, and Humbert, of course, the usual sliced serves with the left hand. So it's really leading for to many easy points for both players. And it's also important here because of the court we're playing on, right? Just a pretty slick indoor hard court. These sort of serves are just going to be much, much, much more effective. Anyway, 3-4 Kim. So we are really more than halfway into this tiebreak now. Well, more than halfway to this tiebreak, I should rather say. But still a couple of games for either of these players to potentially falter. Yeah, again, Humbert just not doing anything on the second serve return anymore. This is definitely something that is allowing Kim to have a much better position in this match and just feel a lot more comfortable. He's not under pressure anymore on serve, like not really from anything. There's no returns from Humbert that put pressure on him anymore, whether it's first serve or second serve. And some of that is the quality of the serving, but also the second serve returns. It's not like set one. And I think he's just really enjoying himself a lot more since that started happening. I think in the second set, I was even saying that like Kim, as good as his ball is and how heavy he hits off both wings, it's clear he kind of wants a bit more space here. Like after hitting a great first serve, he just wants to have time to set up for the next shot. And Humbert was really stealing that away from him completely in the opener. But that changed soon. Like that's something that we haven't really seen in a while now. And I don't know, maybe it's actually how this match is going to be finished. Maybe there's going to be a game where Humbert suddenly starts putting that pressure on again. He does look considerably more tired than Kim, though, which is a little surprising because usually it's Jérôme whose physicality is more in question, I would say. It's not like it's stopping Humbert from playing well here, though, or especially serving well. So I don't think it will be the deciding factor. But yeah, again, this is the type of return that this is the type of serve that if Kim was playing in the opening set, he was sometimes getting burned by Humbert because Ugo was able to like get away from his body a little bit and fire that forehand down the cross court there to like completely take time away from Jérôme, and that's not happening anymore. Anyway, 4 games all, 2 hours and 13 minutes into this. Just 4 games from another tiebreak, which at this stage, I mean, would definitely feel like a real option because both guys are just serving incredibly well. And when they're not, when the serve isn't enough, the forehand is for Humbert here. This was a pretty weak return from Kim, but still deep. But yeah, this is the type of ball that Humbert has not struggled with the entire match. Like, I don't remember him missing a shot like this. I don't remember him not even like finishing off a shot like this. Again, he goes for that wide serve, and Kim is unable to slice it into play. I'm laughing, and as I said, it kind of has that feeling of an amateur match in a way, where like the opponent does that too, and you're completely flabbergasted. And that's what Kim is sort of like withstanding here. That's what he has to live with. Humbert is just going for that time and time again, and he's been unable to find a response, really. Now, that's a fantastic return. That's on the other side. Humbert going out wide, and Kim just with a good reaction on the forehand. It's a bullet. There's absolutely no way to do anything for Humbert here. 30-15 here, though, and once again, he will go very close to that doubles alley. Remember when Attila Balash made the UMAG final and was serving like that the entire week? Okay. Throws in a short slice from that return, Kim. And he's in the point at least. He's neutralized it. So this is a way, potentially. He's pressuring Humbert, and he finds the backhand cross. Once again, just kind of forces Humbert to play his forehand off a very low ball. And Ugo is unable to produce that topspin on it. So 30 all. Let's see. Potentially a very important moment. This deuce point, of course, this is not the side that Humbert has that out wide tactic on. So this deuce point, this deuce side point, but 30 all is technically deuce. That's the same. He still has a good sliced serve to, down the tee as well. So that's obviously going to bring him the point. Yeah, this has just been a serving clinic from both players, really. It might just be nerves that it comes down to, or it might just be 1 or 2 random points in the tiebreaker. Who knows? 40-30 Humbert, anyway. Can he get out of this game, which looks potentially tricky? Goes T this time, and I think it's in. So 5-4 Humbert. Insane. When returning really wide serves, you should try to return up the line or slice return short middle. That's what Kim is doing pretty much. You can't really go cross court or middle of the court because you're not going to be back in time, right? So yeah, that's pretty much what Kim is doing, obviously. When I played that match that I was talking about, I was definitely just returning up the line all the time. It was just frustrating because I didn't feel like I can actually build up any advantage, I was getting returns in play, but it just was a little uncomfortable for every point to start exactly the same way, which is him hitting that serve, me playing at the down the line, and then we rally, which the guy was actually surprisingly good at, given his physique would have told me otherwise. And it was super hot, so that was a tough ordeal. Perhaps that's why I remember it that well. All right. I mean, for the first time in this match, Kim will be serving to stay in it. Sorry, someone was asking me whether Gila and Vligan can still play the ATP finals in Turin, which, well, I mean, technically they can, but they would have to win 3 events in a row, and the other pairs would have to fail. So, well, while the answer is technically yes, it's in reality, it's just a no. Well, doesn't look like this game will be where Humbert puts some pressure on Kim. Again, he's just not connecting with these returns anymore. And unless there's a deep in Jerome's serving quality in the last set, which might happen, I mean, the last game, I think this is at least going to the breaker for him. We also have the schedule for Basel now. Tomorrow, Jari Runet, Tsitsipas Serundolo, Echeverry Shelton, and Stricker Hrikspor on the main courts. Shapovalov Shang, court 1. That's a really good match. And also Cilic Tabilo, court 1. So a really good lineup there, I think, in Basel. Vienna is probably a bit more better spread out over the days, let's say. And all the big names are on the main court tomorrow, I would say. Of course, especially Dominic Thiem. Anyway, 5 games all. Let's see. That's some good defense from Kim. And Humbert actually won't be able to put this away, but Kim is going to make an error. But yeah, this could have been a chance for Jerome to actually get back into this point, even though he was so far out of the court. That was doable. Has Kim even played a main tour match before? Actually, I'm not even sure, because Basel last year he had Basel last year he had he was injured in 2022. He only played qualifying. I guess he might have played Davis Cup, right? But that's it. Once more, it's just an insane serve from Humbert. Yeah, can play 2 Davis Cup matches against Busa and Trost. So yeah, I guess technically he hasn't played on the ATP tour. Qualified into this main draw, but if he got a main draw wildcard, no one would be surprised, because, well, he was certainly, his level, his talent was warranting it. Anyway, now he's going to have to get to the tiebreak. 6-4, 6-7, 6-5. There's just one more hold for us to get to a breaker. He looks exhausted. Yeah. I was talking about this, Gene, actually. The body language of Humbert being very weird today, that he's like laughing at himself a lot. He's smiling a ton. He's like very jolly. It was interesting. Yeah, Sinner isn't 6-2 anymore. but perhaps was when he first filed out these things, that the questionnaire or whatever. Yeah, Humbert is like really interacting with his box a lot. It's tough for me to explain it, but he's acting different than usual. I did mention that earlier in the set. Talking to himself a ton as well, as we are now waiting, I think, until he gets up to play this potentially last game. But, well, in any case, it's just going to be one game and a tiebreak from here, or just one game. 43 minutes in this third set, Jérôme Kim serving to get us to the breaker. It would feel like the right conclusion to this match, 100%. It's only the first set when Ugo had a real edge, but after that, it's just a serving clinic from both players, really. Ooh, first point is an error from Kim. He was on the attack, but he goes a bit too narrow on that forehand inside out. And now this point, it looks a little shaky for Jérôme. Let's see. You can see he's playing pretty safe here. Oh, wow, this is an interesting slice as well. This is probably the first time we've seen him hit a shot like this in this match. He's definitely nervous, but at least he's keeping the ball within the lines so far. Yeah, he's like looping his forehand. It's funny because this is literally the first point in the match where he's doing that. And they're still rallying. This is by far the longest rally of the match, I think. But so far, Kim is holding up okay. Oh, wow, it's another, like, one of these wristy loops. Yeah, he just whips it, really. And he wins it finally. Humbert is, again, just laughing at this because this was actually pretty funny. Like, this is the first rally of the match where we've seen them play like this. Especially Jérôme. He was just so cautious, he was just desperate not to make an error, and eventually he managed to do it. Humbert not getting to that short forehand whip in time and just tries to produce something that I don't really, I'm not even going to guess what he was trying to do here. But that's a crazy point. That's really the first rally of the match that looked like this, and it happens in such an important moment. And again, Humbert is going to be trying to outlast him, but Kim finds that good angle on the forehand here. I think this easily could have been a shot that he mishits. He was taking it so early, but the way it landed, he was right to recognize that he should go to the net. In the end, it doesn't even need to volley. 30-15. But yeah, we can see that this is going to be a bit more nervy now, which is good. I like the change up here. Kim at the net. But yeah, again, it's a bit spotty. And it's going to be 30 all, just 2 points away. Well, again, Humbert was clearly trying to just put a good quality, deep, heavy return in and kind of just start the point, but he doesn't manage to do that. He's returning further from the baseline as well now. He's just trying to outgrind Jérôme in this last game. He sees that the Swiss is vulnerable, but one more good serve and we get a tiebreak. And as I said earlier, like that looks like a good option for this match. But will it actually happen? Oh, wow. That's a wild forehand inside out from Jérôme now. Well, second serve too. And even the first serves that he was putting in this game, they weren't doing as much damage. Humbert now returning from the back of the court, really. And yeah, just trying to make sure that he starts the point and that he gives Jérôme a chance to miss. Let's see if he will. There's a slice here. Kim will be approaching the net and will eventually get passed by Humbert. Yes, that's another really good recovery from that deep backhand corner from the Frenchman. But yeah, this is just a very different game. Humbert suddenly deciding to outgrind Kim, and it's working. Well, and this is a match point now. And Humbert will go for that forehand winner. Oh, wow. Yeah, so he actually took this match, and he's again just laughing to his box. I mean, he's been acting very interesting today. Of course, still a very high quality match, but the way it ended, I think, especially, is just so interesting. I mean, obviously the opener he was putting so much pressure on Kim. And after that, it was that sliced serve clinic from both, really, because Hugo stops connecting, right? And then suddenly, last game, he just like moves backwards on the return. He's just very content to start the point. And give him a chance to miss. And that's exactly what happened. So in the end, I guess this is a very smart way of playing the last game from Humbert. But I mean, did you know that this was going to be enough? But yeah, last game, just a complete change of pace. And that worked perfectly as well. So kudos to him for that, that's for sure. In the end, of course, this was still a very good ATP Tour main draw debut for Kim. He lasted 2.5 hours with Humbert. He was very close to securing that tiebreak, had a point to get there. But that last game, he was a little more tense, obviously, which is very understandable, and he wasn't able to handle it quite right. The 3 points stopped coming as well because Humbert moved a bit further back. And in the end, I guess it's the better player over the course of the match who wins this, but that's mostly because of the first set only. After that, it was just a sliced serve clinic from both just incredible in terms of that Kim sliced serve down the tee on the outside, and also on the outside, of course, the traditional lefty play from Humbert, kicking Kim out of the court, and the Swiss didn't really know what to do with that. But it just felt like it could easily get to the tiebreak. Eventually, it didn't. Kim only having that one break point in the entire match in the opening set. He was actually the first player, I think, maybe to produce a break point in this match, but of course didn't end up taking it. But yeah, in the end, it's Humbert claiming this match in a very unexpected manner. He just produces a complete change of pace and allows Jérôme a chance to miss, which he did. Tongue waving, yeah, that was good. Coach telling him to change racket. First time seeing Kim play. How do you describe his game style? Big serve, big weapons. I mean, really, he just hits very heavy of both wings and starts the point with a good serve. Plays very aggressively. I don't know. There's not that much nuance to it, to be honest. That's really all I can say. And Humbert is trying to make his opponent win the points. Good strategy indeed. Will a player wearing a backwards hat win a major in the next 4 years? Who is wearing a backwards hat out of the contenders? Probably not, right? I mean, the answer is likely not. And yeah, Kim, of course, Humietze or whatever, however it's pronounced, that Swiss-German version of Komm jetzt. Maybe Rune, 4 years. I hope so, but do I still believe it? I'm not really sure. Well, anyway, for today, thank you guys, and thank you, Jérôme, Kim, and Ugo Humbert. You made this entertaining, even though it was a bit of a serve fest. Really good change of pace for Ugo in the last game. Yeah, I mean, it worked like a charm. So who am I to say that it was weird if it was exactly what was needed in that particular match and in this particular moment? And clearly, he was absolutely right to do it. Kind of makes you think, what would have happened if earlier in the match he does the same, but maybe without the nerves for Kim, maybe the serves would just be giving him a much easier time holding anyway. Maybe he would be blasting through his shots more easily. I don't know. Still a good debut for Jérôme, but of course he will be a bit disappointed not to get the win. And I think especially not to get to the tiebreak, right? That was palpable. Tiebreak, we don't know how it would have gone, but getting to that breaker, that was something he had in his hands. Anyway, once again, thank you. And I'll see you guys some other time. I think John was asking me about team tomorrow. I cannot do it, but maybe someone else will. I'm not really sure. Otherwise, just keep checking the channel for content. And of course, we'll be back with more Vienna Basel stuff as well. So yeah,